And welcome to another edition of Judgment Day. Oh, I almost sang, but then my vocals are a little fried. I need some agua after this. I'm joined once again, Raina Butel and Logan Molnar joining the jury box. And today, oh boy, I think this one might be a little obvious, but this is some straight up drama. So get your tea ready, girls. Let's jump into this. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's colleagues what I do for a living?
Well, you probably don't talk about it that much if you're concerned. That's my first thing.
I know this title, I feel like, is a very slight teasing you about what's going to happen. So let's jump into it. I, 24 male, met my boyfriend who's also 24 male, and we've been together for 3 years. Okay, so we need 2 different boys' names here. Let's do, how about Lance and Vince?
Oh, Vince is underused.
Yeah, Lance and Vince. That sounds like a very nice, cute little gay couple.
Yeah.
All right. So Lance and Vince met in their final year at university at 21. We'll go with Vince is a primary school teacher, and Lance, who's writing this post, is a drag queen and a performer. Ooh. So Lance has been doing drag since he was 19 and before he met Vince. Drag queen Lance usually works 4 to 5 nights a week, while Vince does the usual teaching hours. Lance would like to add that Vince is very supportive of Lance's drag career and tries to attend 1 show a month. After every school year, the school throws a little celebration for the staff to show they appreciate the work done throughout the year. The majority of the staff attend, including the head teacher and the board of governors. Staff are allowed to bring their significant other. This would have been our first time going to the party, as he started the job the previous September. When he told me about it, he said that I didn't have to go if I was performing, but the perks of being a performer are that I have a greater freedom over my working hours. So I told Vince I would move things and I'd attend with him. Vince seemed pleased when I told him. A couple of days before the party, Vince mentioned that I didn't have to go with him if I wanted to perform. But again, I told him it wasn't a problem and I'd love to go. Oh, no. Vince then told me that he hadn't told his colleagues what I do for a living, and he just told them I was in theater. Lance was a bit taken aback because Vince has always been supportive of his drag career and not ashamed of what he does. In fact, he says, I love it more than any other job I've had in terms of drag. And then Lance asked Vince if he was embarrassed about what I did. And Vince said, no, he wasn't. He was just that his colleagues are professionals who might not understand the job or they might have issues with it. So the night of the party comes around and he asks me to just say that he's a theater performer, not a drag queen. I didn't answer and just continued to get ready and met him outside while we were leaving. The party started fine, but then people started mingling and people asked questions about me. It was my first time meeting most of his colleagues. When they asked what I did as a career, I completely ignored my boyfriend's request and stated that I'm a drag queen and work on the club scene. Most were intrigued, as I think it was their first time meeting a queen, and asked a lot of questions, and I told them funny stories, and everything seemed to enjoy them. I noticed a couple people giving me the side eye when I mentioned it, but I gave them no mind. When the party was over, my boyfriend Vince and I had an argument, and Vince said that I jeopardized his career at the school as people would judge Vince and treat him differently for what Lance does as a career. Vince said that people wouldn't take him seriously and that he would be a laughingstock at the school. Lance told him that he was proud of what he does, and I wouldn't pretend to be something that I'm not, just to portray a certain image that he wants people to see. So is he the asshole or is he not the asshole?
Oh boy.
Well, this has a few different variables. So you have Lance is the teacher. You have
Lance is the drag queen. Vince is the teacher.
So we have Vince's self-preservation. Lance is, like properly portraying Lance, and his own reality, and then like worrying about the teachers, like the teacher's reaction, which kind of falls into like the teacher's realm. But it's like, where is the, like, I just don't understand how it will impact anybody's career what their partner does.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That just seems like a very weak excuse to me.
I think it might be like, because some school systems are very, like, they care about what the parents think. And so it's like, if parents found out about, like, oh, one of the teacher's spouses is, you know, a drag performer, there might be some outrage. Like, I remember there was a drag reading hour scheduled at like a public library, a local public library, and there was so much outrage because they're like, that's inappropriate. So I could imagine he's just worried that like parents are gonna hear about it and maybe say like, well, that's inappropriate. Like, he shouldn't be teaching our kids if he is maybe telling them about XYZ, you know.
Well, I think it was more about the teachers than the students.
Yeah,
that's how I interpreted it, as like they're talking in the break room about me.
Yeah, see, but like the career thing, like that's the only thing that I could think of. Like if it's gonna seriously impact his career, and like maybe just a couple teachers don't like you. But
the sad truth is, though, teachers are held to a very inappropriate higher moral standard. You know, I've actually seen posts on Reddit about like teachers who were in the summer in a bathing suit 3 towns over, who they runs into a parent who complains, you're a teacher, you shouldn't be doing that. And like, you know, kind of jokingly, I remember being young, seeing my teachers outside of school, and it was like pearl clutching, like, the teacher goes to the grocery store, like, you know,
like you're a real person.
Yeah, we almost hold these people to like these like nun standards or something. So here's where, and I don't know if you guys saw the story, but recently Hudson High School, there's a lot of heat going on because there was a college level English class that has writing prompts, and this writing prompts in the book, it wasn't used for class, but the writing prompt was about like a sex scene, and the mayor wants the school board fired, parents are complaining, blah blah blah. These little things, like, you know, like to us, the fact that, you know, Lance does drag is like, who should, no one should care, but in reality that could become weaponized. And I know we're thinking, well, maybe it'll just be harmless gossip in the teachers lounge, but some of those teachers who might be homophobic or vicious, religious, I mean, they could easily twist that, get some parents involved, and suddenly it's a giant problem. So as much as it may look like this couldn't be anything more, this is very similar to how we talked earlier about, like, you know, something so little can become big, you know, given the right fuel and all of that. But the bigger issue is your boyfriend specifically asks you a favor, makes it clear, like, if this is too much, you don't have to come. I don't want to change you. I don't want to box you in. But unfortunately, this is a professional setting where I have colleagues that are not going to approve. And I still love you. I still support you. That's the limitation. You were straight up asked, you agree by going, and you then say, screw it, I don't care about my boyfriend of 3 years. You know,
very true. And
that to me is the issue. You know, as much as there's probably some of those homophobic staff members who gave the side eye, who screw them.
But I mean, he's still bringing his boyfriend, you know, like if he had a different career, he's still bringing.
That's one thing, though. I think drag queens, it's viewed as, by some people, like there's people who can accept gay people but not accept gay things, right? Like,
so
they don't
like
accept drag, they don't accept, they're like, like tolerant, like tolerant of the gayness, but not necessarily like. And to be fair, there's also misconceptions. How many of these straight people really understand what drag queens are and what they do? I think some people might equate it to stripping or to sex work, to burlesque work. And certainly we've all been to a drag show where there's been some nudity to a degree, and it's part of the art form. But again, that just gives fuel to the fire, if you ask me. You know, and truth be told, there's probably a lot of professions that like would fall in this category of like, don't tell the colleagues. You know, like if I was dating a bartender, like that might be a concern. If I'm in a conservative school district, that might be a concern. If I'm dating someone who, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like other jobs, but there are definitely this pocket of jobs which are legitimate jobs that, you know,
I mean, even like stripping, sex worker, like,
you know, or I'm trying, you know, maybe even casino work, depending on how conservative the school is. I mean, you know, on atheist.org, I don't know. Are they hiring? But like, you know, like there are limitations. So
But as
What
far
is
as
so-
like, sorry, no, Logan, go ahead.
So I'm so sorry. We're so bad at that. We try to like gauge each other. It's so hard over Zoom. Sorry, guys. Did it say Board of Governors? Am I?
yeah, I'm thinking
I don't
this
think
is
I know what that
England.
is.
I think this might be
That's
an
okay.
England thing.
That's what I assumed.
I'm trying to
And,
see if
like-
it gives it away somehow, but they say final year of university. So that to me, I feel like that's very English to say.
So like when I think of English schools, I think of, you know, like the boarding school and the serious and so I'm assuming that it's going to be like, I have to sneeze. I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, and you know what? They use head teacher. So head teacher is basically principal, and that is British. So I'm thinking this might be
Apologies.
British. Board of Governors, I assume, is equates to the school board.
Okay.
The Board
Got
of
it.
Governors.
And let's be real, the Board of Governors is the issue might not be the teachers, it might be the Board of Governors.
They
That's
sound
probably the bigger
terrifying.
issue. Yeah, 100%. Well, they run the school. I mean, if they hear something like this and there are enough people complain, they might intervene. So, and I mean, school boards tend to be older. They tend to be, I mean, specifically old white men, straight white men, and
Yeah.
you know, that's just. Whew.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Did you have
I
something
mean-
to add, Raina?
Well, I just think like coming back to like the original point of like, you guys had an agreement, you broke the agreement, and now I'm irritated with you. Is that valid? Yeah,
Mhm.
just because like it does suck and the circumstances are awful and you know
Mhm.
homophobic potentially, you know, however, you know, because obviously there was reactions from other people, but on a base level of, hey, you know, you are putting me at jeopardy. I love you and I support you and I've
Mhm.
shown support to you, but this
Yeah.
is my thing, and I really need to make sure my thing is protected and secure for the well-being of both of us and our money.
Mhm.
Yeah, that definitely changes the perspective because, you know, obviously this is a pro drag podcast. If you're listening and you don't like that, you know, you probably shut off by now,
Don't listen.
but you know, so we support, you know,
Mhm.
we support these things.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, on a level of this jeopardizes what I've got, and
Mhm.
you defiantly put that into jeopardy. I mean, that's
Mhm.
kind of the bottom line here.
Mhm.
And is
So-
it like, why did he feel like he needed to do that? You know, like,
I mean, it just sounded like he wanted to do what he wanted to do, and it was an ego trip, if you ask me.
which is just
Yeah.
don't go. You know, if you're not comfortable with lying, just
Yeah,
Don't
and
go.
I think that he was presented with an out a few times. The boyfriend's like, you know, no big deal. And unfortunately, the boyfriend probably should have trusted his gut and knew that it wasn't going to work out.
yeah.
to a
I like the
degree.
part where he's like, "Are you sure you don't want to you don't want to do your performance? Like, you could do your performance. It's no big deal."
Hey, you know, I'm asking for the 60th time, but like, you don't have to come. Like, ooh.
Yeah, maybe don't come.
Yeah. So are we ready to cast a little judgment, little decree? Logan, should we start with you?
Can you reread the question again?
Yes. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's colleagues what I do for a living?
I'm gonna say you're the asshole. I think that he had the opportunity to not come if he's uncomfortable with lying, and I think that he needs to respect his boyfriend's wishes, who is otherwise extremely supportive of him and what he does. He comes to performances. He's like probably there all the time. You know, he's supportive of him all the time. So why can't you support him with this one thing? So I'm gonna say, yeah, asshole.
Raina?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, you're not an asshole for pursuing your dreams and your chosen path, but you are an asshole for going against the delicate situation that your boyfriend's in and prioritizing your own ego and sense of self and trying to you know, stick it to the people who you know who are there that won't like that. You're an asshole for announcing that against the wishes of your boyfriend.
Yeah, definitely the asshole. This is not an issue about whether or not drag is wrong. The issue at hand is your boyfriend asked you, hey, I need you to do this for me. We're going to a work event for my job.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable with it, you know, no stress. You agree to these terms. And then you decided, it wasn't like someone pressed you for info. It wasn't like someone's like, I recognize you down at the bar. You're a drag queen. You took it on yourself to just give you that extra. Look at me. I want to feel special. I want these people to ooh and ah over me at what could be the cost of your boyfriend's reputation, your boyfriend's job and financial way of living, his career. And it's irresponsible. It's disrespectful and irresponsible. So it's a twofer. What do we think the thread said? I don't know if we need to.
I think they agree with us.
Yeah, he's the asshole. Top comment says, I'm really conflicted. You should be able to live your truth, but at the same time, people are going to judge him differently since we live in a homophobic and anti-fluid society in general. A lot of people in the school system, such as administrators who were there, could look at him differently and not take him as seriously because of it, and that's an unfortunate reality. You're the asshole. He asked you not to tell anyone. If you had planned to tell people, you should have told him beforehand. He has to work with these people every day. You don't. It affects him more than you. That's the thing, too. No fallout for the boyfriend for saying he's a drag queen. All the fallout goes to poor Vince here.
Like, he's probably only going to see the... Wait, Lance? I don't remember who's who.
I know. It was kind of confusing. I'm like, ooh.
But yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like he probably only has to see these people twice a year, if that. And yeah, the teacher has to see them every single day and deal with that.
The second most is kind of long, but I love the points that it raises. So this is the second most rated. You know what bugs me about this post? It's about how your comfort's acknowledged, but not about how your partner feels. Your boyfriend is nothing but supportive. He goes to your shows. He made sure that you were 100% okay to attend due to your performances. He made a request, but instead of talking like an adult, you ignore it like a teenager. And at the party, you admit ignoring your partner's requests and feelings. Congrats. Some were interested in you, but some side-eyed you. And those people are going to give him problems. He said he wasn't it. It was just his colleagues are professionals. They might not understand or might have an issue. He gave you a reason for his discomfort, yet you ignored it. You are not going to be working with the consequences. It's a shitty life, but it's a toxic working still exists. And he fears that he's going to be in a toxic environment now because your own feelings were more important. His coworkers are not his friends. They don't need to know every detail, just the bare minimum, which your boyfriend tried to give. Have you ever thought about your boyfriend's comfort in his working environment? You're the asshole. Next time, sit down and have a conversation like an adult instead of ignoring your partner's feelings on his own matter. And yeah, it's just
got him.
Yeah, asshole. Yeah. So, I thought the situation was dramatic. Maybe easy to pinpoint who is the asshole, but
which is crazy because it's like from the title, I'm like, no, like why wouldn't you? You know? Yeah. But I totally understand. I mean, it sucks, but I do understand.
Yeah. Well, after we finish this episode, I'm going to tell you guys what I do for a living, but not tell the listeners. Take that, society. All right. Well, thanks for another Judgment. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Judgment Day is a podcast by Starvolt Studios. Judgment Day is executively produced by Matt Rebar, Logan Molnar, and Raina Butel. For more awesome content, just go to starvoltstudios.com or on their Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter page.